Hello, and welcome. This past fall season of anime was so great that I'm not going to do an intro. First up, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2.
Hachi はその条件を満たしている。
Helck is another anime that carried over from the summer season. Yeah, might as well do all the carryovers now. So I'm not going to go back and redo any of my previous tier lists, but I do think that overall I may have been a bit too generous for some of the anime of the summer season. They really haven't held up compared to the others throughout 2023, especially with the fall. I bring this up because Helck is a much more character-driven story than an action one, despite the fact that it has a lot of fight scenes. But the first half of the second core is entirely about Helck's past and why he's allied himself with the demons. I actually like this core a lot. The best part of the anime came out in the fall. However, overall, I do think I'll give it a B tier since these tier lists are ranked on how I'd recommend an anime, not so much which ones are my favorite. Overall, pretty solid and really improved from the first core, and I'd like to see more, but not one of the more outstanding anime of the season. Dark Gathering, on the other hand, is a completely different story. I already really enjoyed the first core, but the second has taken everything that was great about the series and kept pushing. That's what makes the two-core series great. Keep doing what's working and only improve episode after episode. The first core was already scary enough, but now, well, let's just say I no longer am going to look at meatballs the same way again. And that's a compliment, because how often do we get a horror anime where the anime is actually scary? Horror anime has to be the one genre of anime that's least burdened with quality shows. And I'm impressed with the ghosts they have in the series, how they're able to constantly push the envelope of what you're even allowed to show. Growing up, I didn't understand why ghost-type Pokemon are super effective against themselves, but now I'm pretty sure I get it. But it's a testament to great character development that in a series of horrifyingly powerful spirits, the ones I fear the most are either of the main female characters. Dark Gathering has more than earned itself an S tier rating. Dead Mount Death Play Part 2 continues the most confusing but perhaps engaging anime of the year. Man, with how every episode seems to introduce 5 new characters, I swear, the next time I watch a Narita anime, I'm just going to make my own flowchart. Looking at you, Fate Strange Fake. I've watched every episode when it came out for this series, and yet I still feel like Solitaire, where I don't know what's going on half of the time. I'm just here for the fun of it. That being said, I'm still putting this in A tier, because while it can be a bit much to follow piece by piece, Ryogo Narita still knows how to write a compelling story. I definitely recommend watching this all in one go, because then you don't have to wait an entire week to get your next new character. But seeing how everything comes together by the end is really exciting. I'm hoping we get more from this series, but if we do, I might just wait until after it's aired to watch it again. Spy X Family Season 2 is the continuation of one of the most popular anime of the decade so far, but I'll be honest, I was prepared to just put this in A tier. I like the series, don't get me wrong, but with the episodic nature, I wasn't exactly on the edge of my seat each episode. I thought the series had peaked right at the beginning and has just been coasting at pretty good ever since. That is, until we get to the cruise ship arc, which is now the peak of the series for me. It's almost entirely your focus, who is my favorite character, and I was hoping we'd see a lot more of her and more than just a comedic role, especially since we haven't really seen her work as an assassin too much. But wow, they cooked with this. Your is her! Maybe I'm just too easily excited, but this entire arc, pun intended, puts it into S tier for me. Really looking forward to the movie. Shy is an anime where you get incredible moments like David Bowie beating the crap out of a middle school girl. I swear it's for her character development. I was really looking forward to this anime, which surprises me because I'm not really a superhero guy. I saw Avengers Endgame when it was in theaters and I barely remember it. And the last MCU movie I saw beforehand was Iron Man 3, which came out 6 years prior. Yeah, I'm probably not the best person to review this, but overall, I was hooked from the get-go. Teru Momijiyama is Shy, Japan's hero, but finds doing her job difficult because, well, she's shy, and learns what it means to be a hero and what the consequences of your actions can lead to after nearly killing a girl she was trying to rescue. Fortunately, she survived, and through the power of friendship, Teru's able to find her resolve and become the best hero she can be. I like this series a lot, and I'm glad it's getting a second season. However, I am putting it in B tier, since this anime takes a bit of warming up to. I really like the second half, which is focused entirely on Pesha, the Russian hero, and it has some really tragic and emotional moments, but the production is mostly decent here. It is cool how you have scenes cut into one another like you're reading manga panels, but it does take some getting used to. I'm looking forward to seeing what'll come in season 2 though. Pluto is an anime I didn't know existed because Netflix sucks at marketing anime, until someone mentioned it in my fall anime preview video, so thanks for doing that because, yeah, I'm real glad I checked this out. I'm not too familiar with the source material, but the author, Naoki Urasawa, is also the creator of Monster, as well as several other highly acclaimed works. And I'm not too familiar with Astro Boy either, which I bring up because the story is based around one of the arcs of Astro Boy, but is a grittier reimagining as a murder mystery. The series is only 8 episodes long, which are about an hour each, and cover the entire series, which I'm glad for because this is such an incredible story. I highly recommend watching it blind, but if you're interested, let me just say that episode 1 in the second half introduces 2 characters who in their very light screen time leave behind one of the most emotionally impactful moments of the entire year through all anime. The character development is so strong here, and while I was watching the series, I ended up putting myself into Gesicht, the main character's shoes, more often than not, trying to come up with the solutions to the mystery as it was unfolding before my eyes. This is definitely a massive undertaking by the studio involved, and you can tell they're extremely passionate about making it. Pluto is genuinely one of the greatest anime of the year and is more than deserving of a god tier rating. Unlike Berserk of Gluttony, which is one of the most forgettable anime of the year, even if it was made by the same creators of Vagabond of Greed and Vinland Saga of Lust. And I could keep going, but eventually I'm going to run out of cardinal sins. This season had a lot of edgy anime with it, and on surface level you'd think an anime titled Berserk of Gluttony would be the edgiest, but it's a lot more tame than you'd think. The main character, Fate Graphite, his name is Fate Graphite. I'm not making that up. There's anime names, and then there's Fate Graphite. Fate Graphite! Oh man, I wish I had that name. Is cursed with the skill Gluttony. And no, it doesn't make him a shonen protagonist from over 20 years ago, but it does make him constantly hungry, and the only thing that can satiate him is looking up YouTube videos on how to lose weight to achieve your New Year's resolution that you're going to forget about by the end of the month. And murder. Look, this anime isn't very good. The action is stiff, and I don't think there's much originality here. The MC looks like Kirito, and you might think of Asuna when you see the main female character, but her name is indeed Roxy.
Loki shit! Loki shit! Loki shit!
I don't think this anime is terrible. There's some decent episodes here actually, and I don't usually bring this up, but the soundtrack is fantastic. I've been listening to it while editing this video. But yeah, this is a C tier anime for sure. And this whole concept of everyone in this world has a unique skill, but mine is useless except it's actually the most powerful. Yeah. Get used to seeing this, because looking at trends of more recent manga and light novels, you're going to see a lot more anime like this to come. Fortunately, we have anime like the Vexations of a Shut-In Vampire Princess, which is only a medium-length title for a light novel adaptation. But what makes this anime way better than the one I was just talking about is that we have one of the best MCs of the year here with Kamari Goddess Blood. And that's a name right up there with Anos Voldigold and being ridiculous but badass. She's a shut-in, never leaving her room, shunning herself from the light of day and the going-ons of the world around her. But her ultra-horny maid and others do everything they can to prevent her from being just like the rest of us, and she's put in charge of an entire unit to command. Now, despite how much she really doesn't want to be here right now, as it turns out, there is no one else best prepared for the role, as her soldiers are unwavering in their loyalty. Except this guy. She may be frail and weak for being a vampire who doesn't drink blood, but when she does... Kamari is her! Goddamn. Each episode I keep chanting, Go Marine! Go Marine! Go Marine! With everyone else. You just love seeing her win. I've become such a big fan of Kamari that this is my new life goal. Yeah, it might not be too special, but who cares? This is such a fun anime to watch. I'd gladly watch 12 more seasons of this. Go Marine! Go Marine! Go Marine! Forever. S tier.
Why don't you change it up? Play something that's good for once.
No thanks. Shangri-La Frontier is the second gamer anime of the year I've watched, but unlike My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, here though, we are all about the game itself, rather than anything like romantic progression or character development, and hey, that's fine. Shangri-La Frontier is so much fun to watch. The animation is way better than you'd initially expect, and the main character doesn't have any real motivation for playing the game, other than it's just fun. He used to be a connoisseur of playing awful games, but he's discovered the hottest VR MMO in the market, Shangri-La Frontier. And now instead of taking you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass, he's putting on a bird mask to play the nifty game that gets a pass. I love how you can tell that everyone involved with this series genuinely loves playing video games, as there's so many references to just gaming in general. Hard to explain in detail if you're not a sweaty epic gamer such as myself, but with how the MC Sunraku is so surprised to be playing a game that doesn't have bugs or exploits that he's used to, you can tell that he used to be a competitive player of Guns the Dole, for the 7 of you who actually get that reference. This anime is just fun, there's no real stakes, this is a turn your brain off and have a great time anime. Man, I just want to play the game myself. It's an A tier for sure, but I do have one gripe. If he's so big on VR games and playing as many as he can get, even though he focuses on bad games, how has he never checked out Shangri-La Frontier before? It's got over 30 million players and is the hottest game around. This is like if an MMO gamer in 2007 had never heard of World of Warcraft. Anyways, Goblin Slayer Season 2 is a perfect A tier for me. Why? Because it's a benchmark for these tier lists. Any anime I like more is going higher, and any anime I like less is going lower. And if an anime is around the same level, guess where it's going? Now, Goblin Slayer isn't an anime full of plot twists and revelations about the human condition. You're getting exactly what you bargained for here. As someone who enjoys the Souls series and Dungeons & Dragons, it's pretty clear to see where Goblin Slayer gets its inspiration from. But hey, familiarity isn't a bad thing. If you enjoy edgy fantasy action anime where the MC isn't necessarily overpowered, just prepared and knowledgeable about his enemy, then you're already watching this, I'm sure. Man, with Berserk of Gluttony, Shangri-La Frontier, and Goblin Slayer Season 2, this is a really bad season to be a goblin. Oh yeah, and I wasn't kidding about what I said in my fall preview video. The OP for Goblin Slayer Season 2 on its own is in top contention for best OP of the year easily. This series may be an A tier, but Mealy is a god tier band.
It's so sad Steve Jobs died of Ligma.
Who the hell is Steve Jobs?
Ligma balls.
Okay, I know what you're thinking here. Why would I watch an anime about an elf? I thought elves were a bunch of virgins, vegetarians, and vegetables. Why can't we get a good fantasy anime about a dwarf or an orc? Definitely not goblins though, because of this season. But why would I watch a pointy-eared leaf eater? Frieren is her! Memeing aside, chances are you're already somewhat aware of Frieren. It is currently, as I'm editing this, the #1 anime on my anime list. And as pretentious as it is to hold up MAL scores as objective truth, I'm rather inclined to side with the masses with this one. Frieren Beyond Journey's End is perhaps the most ambitious anime I've seen all year. So many scenes are animated so well that I feel like we're being spoiled every episode. I watched the premiere thinking, yeah, I've heard good things about this. What's it gonna do for me? I was crying not even 10 minutes in. Frieren is all about the painful realization of what it means to be an immortal. And yeah, we've had anime like that before, but what Frieren does so well is that it takes a phrase, it's about the journey, not the destination, to the nth degree. Frankly, I usually forget where they're going for this journey until we get flashbacks to Frieren's past, and I remember after crying some more. There isn't really anything negative I want to say about Frieren. I love all of what it has to offer. The characters, the animation, how gorgeous every shot is, and the music. The music!
This guy moaned at least this loud.
Yeah, definitely a god tier anime for sure. And not only is it a god tier, but expect it to rank really high on my best anime of 2023 video. The Eminence in Shadow Season 2. Okay, this is actually the first time that I'm ranking an anime sequel where I've already ranked the first season before. In my first tier list for winter 2023, I ranked The Eminence in Shadow into A tier, and I stand by it because, while having a longer episode count than usual for a season is a novel idea, if I'm going to be completely honest, I feel like it dragged some in the middle of the series. I still like it, and while I was prepared to watch Season 2, I wasn't too sure what I'd think about it. So allow me to say that The Eminence in Shadow Season 2 is a legitimate contender for Anime of the Year because wow, this is a good season. It starts off big time with probably my favorite arc of the series so far, and it only gets better and better as it goes on. I don't think I've watched an anime this cringy but awesome at the same time. The main character moonlights as a secret agent named John Smith in one of the arcs, and he does this just because he thinks it would be cool. And it's played 100% straight. Just like the name Fake Graphite. With the wild end of Season 2, we got an announcement that what's next for this series is a movie. And I really hope High Dive is able to bring it to theaters here in America too. Now, I was able to go and see The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbyes, so I'm pretty hopeful that they can do it. And I will be there no matter what. So yeah, this is definitely an S tier for me. The 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You is an anime that I have a lot to say about, which is not an exaggeration as so far I've made a video review of every single episode of this series on my channel. And not to be too presumptuous, but chances are if you've seen any of my videos before, there's a good chance you've seen one of my previous 100 Girlfriends videos. It's about a man named Rentaro Aijo who is sentenced to death by endless ejaculation. Not because he's going to have 100 girlfriends, but because one of them is this thing. Hang on, let me get that. Yeah, needless to say, I had high expectations for this series, and fortunately, they have all been not just delivered, but exceeded. I really do need to hand it to Studio Byberry. You can tell that everyone involved is as big of a fan of the series as I am. And if you aren't familiar, this is the final boss of harem anime. Yes, the main character will eventually have 100 girlfriends. Not quite yet there in the manga. We just passed the quarter point last year, so it's going to take a while. But even if you really hate harem anime, I still can recommend this anime to anybody. It's extreme in every sense of the word. Just having 100 girlfriends is already a massive undertaking, but to have all of them be extremely likable, get proper time to develop, and stand out on their own is a real feat of strength. And despite all of that, it's wild that the best part of the series is actually the MC himself. If I had to describe this anime in one word, it would be spectacular! Yeah, if you're expecting any other rating for this series other than a god tier, then you're going to be disappointed. And I'm not only ranking it there, but I am changing god tier to what it should be for the rest of this video. That being said, just like how Rentaro proves it's alright to love more than one person, this is terrible advice, I'm not a relationship expert, please don't take me seriously. Girlfriend Season 2 proves that it's okay to love more than one harem anime. And for what it's worth, I was a fan of Girlfriend already before I read 100 Girlfriends. Seeing both of these anime at the same time was a lot to take in. I half expected Anime Trending's weekly coupleship polls to only have Rentaro and Nalia as the sole male characters all season long. While I am a massive fan of 100 Girlfriends, I don't know if I would be to the same extent if I hadn't given Girlfriend a shot. This series is quite different than the previous because here, everyone shares one brain cell. In fact, whenever a new character is introduced, she'll share the same brain cell. Now, you'd think this would be a detriment to the series and make it annoying, but fortunately Nalia is just that guy to deserve a harem this big, even if he doesn't know if he can satisfy more than 2 girls. But hey, this season is really focused on Shino, who's my favorite character now, and she's so clumsy you could draw a straight line in front of her and she'd collapse the economy. We didn't get too many rom-coms this past season, but seeing 2 of my favorites airing simultaneously more than made up for it. I have no shame in putting this series in S tier, where it rightfully belongs. Stardust Telepath is a surprise hit for me this season. What I expected was a cute Yuri anime with a shy girl learning to make friends with others and finding a place to belong. But I got that in Shy. Yeah, that's part of what Stardust Telepath is about, but as I continued watching, it became clear that Stardust Telepath was October Sky, except Jake Gyllenhaal is Shizuka from 100 Girlfriends.
What if it was purple? A rabbit! A rabbit! Yeah!
Umiko's a loner and burdened with unbearable shyness to the point where all she wants is to meet an alien and go back to their homeworld. And as it turns out, her classmate Yu Akiuchi is an alien. Yeah, if I was an alien, I'd go to Japanese middle school too. She doesn't even try to hide it. She's running around, proudly proclaiming to be an alien, and nobody at school seems to bat an eye or take her too seriously other than Umika. I bet she's not the only one who does that. Who else goes to this school? Oh, let's see. We've got Kevin, who's a vampire, and Billy is the final boss of Pikmin 3. There's Fake Graphite, and
That's Dunban over there!
in fact, I'm not even sure that she is an alien or not, despite the fact that she could do telepathy with the other girls by touching her forehead to theirs. What I expected was something like Bochi the Rocket, but instead, this is a pretty dramatic story of girls with deep-seated trauma overcoming their pasts and their reservations, and learning to be passionate about their hobby. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this one to hit me as hard as it did. Definitely worth a watch. Solid A tier. But it's not the biggest surprise for me this season, as we have our dating story, the experienced you and the inexperienced me. And I know that earlier I mentioned I thought I was a bit too generous towards the anime I ranked for the summer tier list. But allow me to ignore what I said, because I want to gush about how great this anime is. Now, it starts off with the loser dorky boy Ryuto getting roped into confessing to his crush, the popular Gyaru girl Runa, and surprisingly she agrees, brings him over to her house, and straight up asks if he wants to do it. I get why it's called Our Dating Story now, because he can seize the means of reproduction. Now, I was once a teenage boy myself, so I have to commend Ryuto for not leaning into his hormonal urges and actually doing the right thing and saying he wants to wait until the right moment. Here's where I actually got pretty depressed watching this anime, as it dawns on you that no boy Runa had ever dated felt the same way. Yeah, the experienced you in the title is exactly what you were expecting. Runa's dated several guys before who treated her the exact same way each time. Date to have sex with her for a short while, then dump her when you're bored. Nobody she's ever dated has seen her as an actual person rather than just a toy until Ryuto. He wants this relationship to mean something to the both of them, and over time, the two fall deeper in love with each other. Like I said, Ryuto did the right thing here. Sure, he could have the experience of his lifetime and brag about it to his friends, but he's a good guy and doesn't want to take advantage of Runa's offer. Runa offered because she just expected that's all of her boyfriends would ever want. And don't get me wrong, sex is a wonderful thing, but what makes it feel wonderful is when both people are on the exact same wavelength. Communication is key to any relationship, as this anime paints that picture again and again throughout the series. By denying her offer, the two were able to actually form a successful romantic relationship, and that'll just make the sex that much better whenever they're comfortable and ready to get to it. Guys, don't take advantage of a girl who has truly never experienced love before like Runa's ex-boyfriends did. And I know I'm about to address 3% of my audience here, but girls, you are worth much more than whatever Runa's ex-boyfriends would think. You all, no matter who you are, deserve to be loved and not just treated like a plaything. Anyways, the rest of the anime is great too. Yeah, I do see the criticism involving the interactions with some of the other characters and how conflict might be resolved a bit too quickly. But at the same time, it's my list, and this was genuinely one of the anime I was most looking forward to every week this fall. Sure, the main characters can be cringy, but who isn't cringy at that age? Shaq? Oh yeah, and the OP and especially the ED are bangers here. Yeah, one of the biggest surprises of 2023 for me, S tier. The Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy was definitely an anime I had hopes for this fall season, so it pains me to say that this is the most disappointing anime of 2023. Seeing Passion animate this is a giant green flag for any of us expecting a fun, ecchi anime, as they really excel at that. So it boggles my mind why the studio decided to tone down as much of the ecchi side of things as they can. I don't expect every anime to make me drool or anything. Usually. But if I'm led to believe that from everything I've seen before the anime comes out, and then it airs, and it's played relatively tame, I'm going to feel disappointed. So then Demon Sword Master needs to rely on its other strengths to carry it, which it really doesn't have. The animation is a definition of passable, but overall, this is legitimately a top 3 most boring anime of the year for me. And there's no goofy names like Fake Graphite to grab my attention. I've watched all the episodes, and the best thing I can say about them is that these 3 skeleton bros are cool for the final 2 episodes that they show up in. And the post-credit bits with Leo's maid and the dog goofing around are genuinely hilarious. I hope there's a season 2 here because I will watch it just for those goofballs. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this series, and I'm sure by the time I really sink my teeth into this winter season, I'll forget all about it. C tier. The Apothecary Diaries, however, is a much better use of your time, as this is a fantastic anime. It tends to be a bit more episodic in nature, but unlike with Spy X Family, where many of the episodes feel like they'd be more in place with filler episodes from anime of the 2000s or so, every episode manages to tell its own story featuring Mao Mao, the apothecary for the rear palace of the Emperor of China. I'm just going to say it, Mao Mao is absolutely in contention for Best MC of 2023. I swear, I can watch her file her taxes and it would be way more entertaining than the last anime I covered. If you're interested in anime that are a bit more slower paced, take their time to really world build and interweave a connecting matrix of political intrigue, then this is the anime for you. With the Apothecary Diaries and so many other great anime this fall season and really all of 2023 that give us genuinely amazing female main character leads, I've never once thought any of them were boring, unlikable, or pandering, and the reason I bring this all up is because it just makes me wonder that much more. What were they thinking when writing Galadriel for the Rings of Power? I'm actually a bit warmer than most people on the internet about that series, but I can't defend the characterization of her. Great female main characters are great characters in the first place, and I'm not trying to take away from Mao Mao and the Apothecary Diaries here. I'm just trying to paint a brighter picture of how hard she carries the series. Every Saturday, I'm sitting lying in wait to see what new things she gets up to. Every time something goes her way, it's because she made it so using the resources and connections available to her. And shoutouts to the season of anime overall for giving us 2 drug gremlins that we can all love. Yeah, this is an S tier easily. The Kingdoms of Ruin. What's the best way to describe this anime? Yes, terrible. This anime is what you get when you watch Attack on Titan and start with episode 1 and then skip immediately all the way to the final chapters, part 1. There's no build up to the rampant destruction here, but after watching the first episode, you totally understand why the MC, Adonis, wants to destroy all of humanity. You might think an anime like this would be an edgy schlockfest.
Fuck you!
And you'd be right! I really don't understand what they're going for here. Adonis is fueled entirely by revenge.
Don't want peace. I want problems, always!
There is nothing redeemable about him, nor really anybody in his way. He just wants to kill everything, including the only people who would ever side with him. Adonis is about as well written as Galadriel from the Rings of Power. Oh hey, her again. And then the main female character, Dorica, is outright delusional. She still tags along with him despite the fact that he's just about murdered everyone she's ever known, and plays the let's all get along card when it's not the time nor the place. Lady, you can't fix him. The animation and fight scenes are wonky at best. Characters you think will be cool and matter get killed off way too quick, and the MC has a power that's never really explained well. Man, I don't even know where to go from here. I can't justify putting this in C tier because the only way I'd ever recommend this anime is if you want to laugh at it, which is why I stuck around. So congratulations to the Kingdoms of Ruin for being the recipient of my first ever D tier ranking. For real this time. Yeah, I'm going to make this a new tier for these tier lists moving forward, but only reserved for the real stinkers I watch. Don't expect me to give out too many of these. And if you're wondering, these anime I've previously ranked would all place in this tier too. I need something positive to end on, so Undead Unluck is a real solid anime. I've heard so many great things about the series before watching it, and I've been impressed so far. It is such a creative power system for a battle shonen. Every one of the main characters is called a negator because they negate rules of the world. Now, I can make an entire video explaining what that means, but what you need to know is that the MC, Fuko, has the negator ability Unluck. Anyone that touches her will die, sentencing her to a life of misery and loneliness, until she meets Andy, another negator who has ability Undead, preventing him from actually dying. He has incredible regeneration that he can use to use his fingers as bullets propelled by his own blood or fight via other creative methods. And this is a David production anime, so you know you're going to be getting sound effects with plenty of bass. The other negators you meet have abilities that are really cool too, especially Juice, whose ability is so powerful that when I saw it, I knew I was in for something special. And another strength this anime has is its incredible world building. Literally. I don't want to give anything away, but the more you watch this anime, the more that unravels about the history of the world and the consequences that the negator's actions bring with it. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for this one. I'm going to give it an A tier for now, but since it's one of several anime that have carried over into the winter season, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. And there we have it, all the anime I've watched for fall 2023. Yeah, this season was awesome, as it brings us one step closer to finding the perfect anime. Sorry about how long it took to get this one out. I made a video every week of this season for 100 Girlfriends and spent 2 whole months working on the Attack on Titan episode ranking videos, so I wanted to make sure I wouldn't break myself into making this video too soon. And of course, I'm a mortal man, so I'm not able to watch every anime that came out. There are a few I was definitely interested in that I had to cut, like I'm in Love with a Villainess or Ragna Crimson, so I'd love to know what you think the best anime of this season were. My next video will be about the best anime of 2023, so be sure to sub Fate for more graphite so you don't miss out on that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.